Yo, what's up guys, welcome back to another video. This is a reaction to the dangers Gen X faced. And I mean, in terms of the dangers, I don't really know whether it's like things you got up to as a kid, like, I don't know, riding your bikes far, or like, I'm trying to think of things that from Gen X. I've done reactions to this sort of stuff before, so I'm thinking of things. Is it stuff like seatbelts and all that sort of stuff, like no seatbelts maybe? We're gonna see. I mean, that's the whole point of this video. I'm trying to make guesses before. I don't know why, but we're gonna check this out. And if you grew up in this generation, you can say whether you face this or not. And that's pretty much it. Let's check this out. Links are in the description to my Patreon, where you can see reactions to movies, TV series, stuff that I can't post to YouTube, of course. And yeah, you can suggest me to react things on there as well, to things that I can't post to YouTube. But yeah, let's check this out and see the dangers some of you may have faced, or some of the things that just Gen X faced in general.
If you grew up as Generation X, then it's probably a miracle you even survived. At least that's what the modern world tells us.
Okay.
Many of the things that were normal back then are now taboo. In this video, we will have a look back and wonder how Gen X kids even survived.
Jesus Christ. This is sounding a bit
Television
brutal.
wasn't everything, but it was still pretty important. If you were a kid in the 70s, then you probably did not even have cable. Most people relied on a television antenna, which was usually rabbit ears and tin foil. However, there were some households that used an antenna that was mounted on top of the roof.
The roof?
Every so often, this antenna would need to be adjusted thanks to some wind or weather.
He means roof. Wait, do you say roof in the US? That has baffled me. I've never heard the term roof in my life.
This became a family affair. Dad, of course, was in charge of the pictures, so he was right in front of the television. One of the kids would be up on top of the roof and ready to receive instructions from the relay of the rest of the family spread out from Dad. No one ever...
I've just clocked what he said. You got your kid on the roof. Wait, what?
Thought anything about kids being on the roof and then falling off. Most kids got up there anyways just to get a better view of the neighborhood or the stars. Many newer roofs are much more steep, and that might be considered child abuse to send your kid up there. I guess it's a good thing that people don't have to deal with antennas on the roof. Summers as a kid were always fun, and why wouldn't it be? You were out of school, and that meant you could spend more time with your friends.
Look at the drip. The classic socks. Yeah, you're looking cool, dudes. Looking cool.
But with all that running around outside, you were bound to get thirsty. There's nothing quicker and more refreshing than a sip from the garden hose. Of course, you had to let it run a while before it got cool enough to drink, but it certainly had a distinctive taste. When is the last time that you've seen a kid do this?
I mean, to be fair, if it's a cold day, you probably don't really care. You're just drinking. But is this the thing that you would just do? You'd go out your way to drink out the garden hose? If that's the case, then maybe that's where it's a problem, but who cares, man? It's just a bit of grass.
It's supposed to be unhealthy, yet here we are. But occasionally, I still take a sip from the garden hose.
Okay.
The garden hose was also connected to a couple other activities that parents today may consider them to be too dangerous. The first one was the slip and slide. The older editions of the slip and slide were a little bit more dangerous, and some kids broke bones or chipped teeth on these, but just about everyone slid off the end or over the side and got a grass or rock burn. Believe it or not, they still sell these, but they are a little bit safer. This next item, however, I'm not so sure about. As kids, we all enjoyed playing in the water sprinkler, but some of these sprinklers could be pretty rough. This one in particular was...
Oh god, so this is the sprinkler, right? Oh god, this spins. I don't know how fast it spins, but
it's really dangerous.
It's like a blender.
It had a solid steel base that could certainly hurt if you stubbed a toe on it or fell on it, but that wasn't the dangerous part. When the water ran through the sprinkler, it would move the metal fan blade at the top. At that point, it was like a little saw blade that was spinning fast on top, and it could cut through little water-soaked toes and feet. Kids were fast learners, though. If they got cut once, they would be sure to clear it the next time.
That's wild.
Kids
Although,
in our day
I guess sprinklers aren't made for kids. Like, they're not specifically made for kids to play around with. So, I mean, I don't actually... Isn't maybe... the way it's being built, or the way it's built, I can understand. But it's still wild to think you get chopped. I don't know how flipping fast it's going to go. I assume it's not, like, an actual blender, and it's not as sharp as one. But it can still hurt.
used to be outside a lot, and we loved it. That worked out great because most of our parents really didn't want us inside the house anyways.
Damn.
As a result, kids spent a lot of time out in the sun. And sunblock? We had no idea what that was. Are you talking about a hat or a shade tree?
What?
At most, we may have
Well, like sun cream, mate. If there was no sun cream, I would be done for. I would be screwed.
depended on SPF 4, and that's only if we were super cautious. Everyone was exposed to the sun, and many of us would compare sunburns at the end of the day. When our skin started peeling, we would see who could peel off the biggest flake. Oh look, that one looks like Texas.
What? Fair enough, man. Whatever floats your boat. I mean, me personally, as a kid, I probably didn't really focus on it that much. And I probably got bad sunburns that I can't remember, to be honest. But now, no thank you, man. No thank you. I get sunburn easier than anything, man. Like, my pale ass skin is not built to absorb sun.
It also wasn't uncommon to see teen girls and young women laying out and trying to get that golden beach tan. Quite often, they would speed up this process by using either coconut oil or tanning oil.
What, so they're just trying to cook themselves? Isn't using coconut oil quite bad? I don't actually know. Maybe it's not.
Today, most kids get lathered up with anything from 30
Probably isn't good. That's probably the answer to it. I mean, you are like just putting oil to cook your skin pretty much. Fair enough, man. If you want your skin to be brown or like darker shades and you want to just risk the sun, do what you got to do, man. Long-term gain for short-term gain for long-term pain. I think that's a saying. Well, I've made it up if not, but
30 SPF to 100 SPF. Parents in those days certainly didn't have to watch us like the parents do today. They not only trusted us, but they also trusted our friends and the rest of the community. Parents realized that we needed to do things on our own, and that was how we were going to learn. However, if they were watching and we happened to get hurt, there was no doubt that they were going to be laughing as long as it wasn't life-threatening. Bikes were everything to a Gen X kid, and they provided us a freedom that we couldn't get from anything else. We could go on adventures that were hours away from home, and for the most part, our parents had no idea where we were at. We also used our bikes to jump some pretty shady ramps. We could do a lot with some plywood and bricks, and it was hours of entertainment.
damn.
As we look back on our childhoods and compare it to modern kids, it's hard to believe that we did all those bike adventures with no helmet or knee pads. This picture pretty well sums up the generation.
What the fuck? Oh, this is class. Look at that. So you're jumping over what? 5 kids, but then there's another 5 girls there. There's an old man watching. Hopefully for the right reasons. I'm joking, but he's probably just like, yeah, you know what? I want something to go wrong. This is my entertainment for the day. Seeing some kid get a bicycle wheel landing on them. This is wild, man.
This kid is jumping his bike off of a super tall ramp. Notice that he has no helmet, knee pads, or elbow pads.
I didn't even clock that.
Just pure fun adventure. If this Evel Knievel lands short, then the kid on the end is in trouble, and occasionally that did happen. As you look at the kids on the side, you can tell that they are worried about this because they've seen it happen themselves.
I mean, those kids are tiny, bro. That wheel lands them with that force, and a few broken ribs might be the least of your worries.
But the best part about this photo is there's a dad sitting on the front steps and he's smoking a cigarette while he's waiting to see who gets hurt first. For him, this is as good as any gong show on television. Back in those days, cigarette smoke was everywhere, and you couldn't avoid secondhand smoke if you wanted to. In fact, most of us had at least one parent that smoked. Parents would send their kids into convenience stores to purchase cigarettes while they waited out in the car. Usually
Class.
the clerk
That fact always kills me, but I love it, man. Who cares? I mean, I hate smoking, but that fact of just sending your kids to the shops, there's just quality, man, honestly. And I can just imagine being like a shop, like someone who's working at the till, and just being like, oh, you want the same? To this, like, you're looking at this kid, and you're like, oh, you want the same for your mum? It's like, yep. And I can sort of see how that could turn into like a smoking problem, because maybe as a kid, you sort of, over time, when you get older, and then you get the interest of smoking, you'll probably just use that for yourself. Just get cigarettes for yourself. But hey, man, it's the world that the generation was in. Just class, man.
Would just look out and get a nod from the parent, which would signal that it was okay to buy the cigarettes. If the parents were not around, then the kid probably needed a note from the parents saying that it was okay to buy the cigarettes.
Probably needed a note.
These notes were never all that official, and it might be written on a notepad, scratch of paper, or the back of a receipt. Dear clerk, please sell Rhett a carton of cigarettes. Thanks, Mom. Can you believe that actually worked? There's no chance that kids could ever do that today. Car safety was something else that most people didn't take too seriously. In the US, it became mandatory that every car manufactured after 1968 had to have seatbelts installed in them. But wearing them was more of a recommendation rather than a requirement until the mid-1980s.
Damn.
Until then, we stood up on the front seat so that we could see up over the dash, and our dad's arm was our seatbelt and the airbag.
What?
Another thing that we would do is lay up on the back dash and pick our noses as we looked at the cop car behind us. We thought it was super fun.
Okay, I'm assuming this is not whilst you're not having your kid like this when you're driving, especially your baby. I mean, it looks quite cozy to be fair, but I just can't imagine this. This is so wild to me. Also, you got to think of, like, when there was no seatbelts, there must have been some... I mean, car crashes can be gruesome. Like, bad car crashes, of course. And sometimes there's no saving someone, even with all the protection sort of procedures and, like, seatbelts and airbags and stuff. But, god damn, you're going through that window. God damn, man.
When Dad had to slam on the brakes and we came flying out of that back window and slammed into the back of the front seat. Back then, we had to learn how to take a fall, and the crazy thing...
Wait, was this the promotion from the car company? Corvair's luggage problem has several solutions. Above is a seat trick for giving the baby his own cradle. What? This was like promoted in the car. Like, I guess with the car or something. God damn it.
Then we had to learn how to take a fall, and the crazy thing about it is we couldn't wait to get back up there and try it again.
Fair enough.
Pickup trucks were not as common as what you see today, and people that had boats would haul them with regular cars, even Cadillacs. And when Dad needed lumber, it was going on the roof of the car so that it could come home. He would tie it down a little, but it was still our job to help hold the lumber down as it was stacked on the roof. So there we were, standing up on...
Bro, they got the whole tree on it. They got even the roots. How can your car even drive with this?
On the seat, halfway out the window, clinging to the lumber on top, while Dad had his hand on our waistband to keep us from falling out.
Mad.
Somehow his other hand was busy holding down the lumber on his side, which is pretty incredible to think about. At the same time,
What's he driving without any hands?
he was also steering the car, shifting gears, and smoking a cigarette.
Fucking
It's
hell.
no wonder that we thought he could do anything. Remember some of the other activities we did? We all had toys that are considered dangerous now, but back then it was completely normal. Lawn darts was one of those toys.
Lawn darts.
That weighted sharp point could penetrate anything if you didn't get the heck out of the way. Clackers, click-clacks, or knockers had the possibility of shattering and sending shards of plastic flying through the air like shrapnel. Yet
Whoa,
somehow some of these clackers survived. In fact, here is my pair from the 70s. Back then, we learned how to entertain ourselves with the simplest of things. Do you remember making long chains from soda and beer can pull tabs? According to what they say today, we could have been badly cut at any moment, yet most of us...
God, I've got a terrible story with... Not this, but cans in general. I'm not even going to say it, bro. It makes me feel sick when I think of it, but... These can be sharp. Like sometimes I'll like get a tin of tuna, Sometimes, like, and just whenever I open a tin of tuna, pretty much, and obviously I'll scoop everything out, but you can't get everything, so I'll like get the little bits of tuna that are left with my tongue. I'll just put my mouth on it, and it's so easy to cut yourself on the metal, man. I don't know why I still do it. There's like 2 little flakes of tuna or whatever, and I'm just going for it as if it's like my final meal or whatever, and I don't know, I just cut myself. So I can only imagine there was definitely some situations where people cut their fingers pretty bad with this.
It's had minor cuts, if any. But one dangerous activity that we all did was kite fighting. Remember this one?
Kite fighting?
You would fasten razor blades to the side of your kite and then swoop it down so that you could cut the string of your friend's kite.
That's class.
If you were successful,
that sounds really fun. I mean, I never really like was able to fly a kite because I just never had a good kite, and whenever I'd go to the beach, it just wouldn't be windy enough or whatever. But that sounds pretty fun, actually.
Kite and then swoop it down so that you could cut the string of your friend's kite. If you were successful, then that kite would keep flying forever. But if your kite took a nosedive to the ground, then you better be quick and get out of the way of those razor blades. BB guns were another item that was quite common. Kids could go all over town with one on the front of their handlebars, and the BB wars would certainly get intense. Back then, we definitely did not have safety at the top of our list when those broke out. Firecrackers were certainly a lot more accessible than they are today. It seemed like you could pop them off in every city and it was perfectly legal.
What?
Did you ever set off some fireworks and then place them into your Tonka truck and roll it into the driveway where some neighborhood girls were playing jacks so that you could get their attention? No? Well, I guess that was just me then. Speaking of jacks, they were definitely something painful to step on if you were barefoot. Any parent today that complains about a Lego being stepped on has probably never really stepped on a jacks.
Jeez.
These things would completely hide in the shag carpet, and they were like little soldiers that were waiting to ambush you.
What is the point of it?
With all that time that you spent on the bicycle, then I'm sure that you probably came in contact with at least one of these.
A pedal.
One slip of the foot, and this pedal could travel up your leg like a vegetable peeler.
Oh. Oh, damn.
Kids today know nothing about that level of pain.
Thank God for the addition of rubber to the pedals.
Here is something else that could be really painful. These chairs were really comfortable to lay in, but when you got up, you had lines going all across your skin. But that wasn't the worst part. They were not the easiest to adjust. You had to bend them all the way in so that you could adjust them further out. One wrong move and the hinges of these torture devices could snap down on you like a bear trap and take off a chunk of skin.
Oh.
Are these chairs even sold today? Despite all the dangers that were lurking all around us, it really was a special time to grow up in.
Well, there we go. Hopefully this is a nice little throwback for some of you looking back at your childhood memories, because it sounded like every little corner you turned and you just faced some sort of issue. The dangers of being a Gen X kid was not only fun, but it helped us in life. I wouldn't change a thing. Of all the things I miss from the childhood, I miss my parents. Oh, that's sad. That makes me sad, man. Brings back memories of when kids were allowed to be kids and make mistakes that we learned from. Well, there we go. I enjoy this. I do enjoy these reactions. I mean, it's nice for me to look back at how it was, and I guess it's nice for some of you looking back at how it was when you were young as well. So it's just cool to do these reactions. But hopefully you enjoyed. Let me know if there's more that could have been added to this video, and also let me know if you faced some of these dangers that actually caused problems for you. But that's that. Until next time, like, subscribe, and peace.